In sharp contrast to the anti-sludge movement in parts of Europe, here in Canada, we seem to be fanning the flames of the sludge problem. We've embraced the idea of co-composting, wherein two big city waste dilemmas are seemingly solved by mixing municipal garbage and sewage sludge. These waste materials undergo a digestive process and are packaged as NutriPlus, a compost promoted for home gardens and agricultural use. They list the nutrient ingredients on their mixed waste product, but not the toxins nor the heavy metals. Currently, the city of Edmonton no longer markets this co-compost product under the name of NutriPlus, but continues to sell it as a compost-enhanced topsoil to the public and to agricultural markets. Edmonton's co-composting facility is viewed as highly progressive by other Canadian cities.
I guess I would say that people are in an alienated condition. They don't feel what's the problem. It's not getting to their consciousness that there's a trouble being caused with what they do, and that's very serious. That it is okay with people, that it's out of sight. They don't wonder what has happened. What did it do?
In Bear River, Nova Scotia, the residents have voted for a different approach. A solar aquatics treatment system. It has placed the end of the sewer pipe into the center of town and into the mind of the community. It may not be a solution to our sewage woes, but it has made the town think about what is happening to their water.
So you can end up using water with impunity. People just don't, it's never in people's mindset what happens to the water, what they do with it. Most treatment plants have a big mechanical bar screen, and they're constantly pulling off anything, condoms, etc., that people just flush down their toilets. Here, where everyone's come down and walked through the system, and they identify with their sewage now, and they call it our sewage treatment plant. And so that stuff just doesn't happen anymore. People don't flush stuff down the toilets. In the wintertime, there's nothing. When it's just the local residents there, she never has to clean the bar screen. The tourists haven't been fully educated yet, so they still do it. But they've looked down and they say, that's where it goes? That's what happens when I flush it down the toilet? Oh. It's made too easy almost for people to get rid of their sewage. I really like the idea of having it in your face, that this is your sewage. It's in your face. You have to deal with it. Deal with your own stuff.
No matter what kind of sewage treatment system we use to clean up after ourselves, the problem continues to be the same. It is our daily, habitual use of all sorts of chemicals in our homes, in our industries, and institutions that find their way to the drain.
The laborers that help me run this plant are spiders, praying mantis, snails, and bacteria. All those things help. Everything in here is biological. It's either composted, recycled, or eaten. I've had high school teachers actually make their biology and chemistry students write exams on this place. I've taken them through here and then tours of other sewage treatment plants. So they get an overview of that there are different methods. And it gives kids an idea that when they're just home at their house and the laundry's going and somebody's doing dishes and somebody else is flushing the toilet, that it just doesn't disappear. Somebody has to deal with it down the line. Or what happens, it goes out, in our case, into the river, which feeds into the bay, or into a small basin, which feeds into the Bay of Fundy. And the Bay of Fundy is one of the most important bays that this world has to offer, the highest tides in the world and some of the most incredible sea life that you're ever going to see. You can't just afford to flush chemicals or paint thinner down the toilet and say it's gone. It's not gone.
Abby Rockefeller believes we should choose the services, the products, and the chemicals that become a part of our wastes. She calls for a change in public policy and ultimately for a revolution of the system itself.
It's thought to be the peak of rational, the way this all works, that you can put everything down a couple of strains. Well, it is the peak of irrational, of non-life connected behavior. So there needs to be a policy change away from the mixing of wastes and the using of water to carry wastes. Water simply shouldn't be used as the vehicle to carry any wastes. You know, the reason I started with working with composting toilets, with the Clevis multrum in particular, was to get a real live thing, so to speak, out there in the world for people to see.
The composting toilet is not a new technology. It has been out there for some time, quietly waiting to be noticed. The virtues of the composting toilet or ecological toilet are many. First and foremost, it doesn't use water. Also, in economic terms, 90% of our present sewer system costs lie in the transport of our wastes, in the sewering of our communities.
The odors from fresh material go down the chute, so the bathroom never smells when it's in use. That's actually something hard to describe. You really have to live with it to know the great benefits of that.
The journey for these wastes leads to a composter in the basement.
This is the clean-out end of this compost chamber. This is a Clevis multrum type composter, one of the early versions. And what we're looking at here is the finished compost and the liquid. This is the place where you take out both the liquid product and the compost product. And it has been in here for anywhere from 3 to 10 years. The compost part has. The liquid comes through more quickly and is stored in that central chamber over there. And the principle of this whole idea is that the urine gets to travel through the bottom of the oldest material. It's really like soil. And it is transformed and becomes odorless by the time it gets here. And then the solids are transformed by the composting process, bacteria and other small creatures. So what comes through here is like the soil. What can live